Greetings. My name is Vincent Bennett. I'm the CEO and president of McCormick Bear. I've been asked to share my thoughts about Juneteenth, a national holiday. It really celebrates not only the accomplishments of African Americans, but also the legacy of the Emancipation Proclamation and the news that was delivered to many communities throughout the country. Most importantly, it really speaks to the core values of democracy, and specifically freedom and the right to vote. As I sit here next to the federal courthouse where the famous Dred Scott case was heard, that it's about human dignity and the values that we all cherish in terms of respect. And we want for everybody to have the opportunity to thrive. And that's aligned with our mission, where we support the families and children in those communities that we're at. So I want to take this time to introduce two videos, and we hope that you find it of interest, as well as in alignment with this company and our core values and mission. Thank you so much.
The U.S. is gearing up to mark Juneteenth this Sunday, and this, of course, comes after President Biden made June 19th a federal holiday last year. But there's one woman who made it her mission to see the job through. Nicole Killian traveled to Fort Worth, Texas, to talk with 95-year-old Opal Lee, who many consider the grandmother of Juneteenth.
At 95 years young,
Yes, ma'am.
That way.
Opal Lee shows no signs of slowing down. Her life story has become legendary for her unwavering mission as the grandmother of Juneteenth.
At what point did you decide that you wanted Juneteenth to be a national holiday?
I felt like I hadn't done enough. I was 89 years old when I got to thinking about it. I just decided.
So it wasn't until then, it wasn't until 89.
No. I was old as dirt. I decided that maybe if a little old lady, 89 years old, in tennis shoes, walking from Fort Worth to Washington, somebody would pay attention.
And they did when she started Opal's Walk, trekking 2.5 miles at a time. For the 2.5 years it took for General Gordon Granger to arrive in Texas and inform enslaved black people of their freedom after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. She delivered 1.5 million signatures to Congress, clinching victory when legislation passed last year.
The bill is passed.
It was signed by President Biden at the White House, establishing Juneteenth National Independence Day.
What do you think of when you look at that pen?
That it has done so much for freedom.
Long before the former school teacher and mother of 4 launched a national campaign, her recognition of Juneteenth came at an early age.
When I was a little one and we lived in Marshall, Texas, we'd go to the fairground. There'd be games and food and food and food. I'm here to tell you, it was like Christmas.
But June 19th wasn't always a celebratory occasion. In 1939, when Opal was 12 years old, her family moved to a home at this corner in Fort Worth that was torched by a white mob.
The paper says there were some 500 folk who gathered. They drug the furniture out and burned it. Burned the house too. My parents never, ever talked to us about it. Not ever.
And why do you think that was?
I don't know. They accepted what had happened.
Acceptance, but for her mother, not defeat.
After that house was destroyed, she worked untiringly till she got another one. I say that maybe I got my tenacity from her. I've got a long way to go.
That tenacity is now driving Opal to erect a new national museum on her own land dedicated to telling the story of Juneteenth.
People think it's a black thing when it's not. It's not a Texas thing. It's not that. Juneteenth means freedom, and I mean for everybody.
For those who come after you, what do you want them to know when they hear the name Opal Lee?
I want them to know that the little old lady dreamed, and they can dream too, and that dreams can come to fruition.
In Fort Worth, Texas, Nicole Killian, CBS News.
Juneteenth, short for June 19th, is the day commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. It's a holiday that has been celebrated since 1866 and represents a critical turning point in American history. Open up a classroom history book, and the author might say that slavery ended on January 1st, 1863. The day when President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, it established that all enslaved people in the Confederate States in the rebellion against the Union shall be then, thenceforth, and forever free. Of course, the proclamation stated this, but it did not instantly free any enslaved people. It would take another 2 years for slavery to end in the United States. In Texas, slavery continued uninterrupted during the Civil War. The state wasn't involved in large-scale battles, and there wasn't a real presence of Union troops. 2 months after the war came to a close, U.S. General Gordon Granger arrived on Texas soil and read General Order No. 3. The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. Granger's arrival marked the freedom for 250,000 enslaved people in the state. Although emancipation didn't happen overnight, celebrations broke out among newly freed black people. Juneteenth was born. The following year, freed people in Texas organized the first of what became the annual celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th. The holiday wasn't widely celebrated across the country, but the traditions continued to grow over the next several decades. By 1979, Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth an official holiday. Finally, in June 2021, Congress passed a resolution establishing Juneteenth as a national holiday.
And now we take you live to the East Room of the White House, where President Biden is going to sign the law making Juneteenth a national holiday.
All right.
Juneteenth marks a date of major significance in American history. It's the longest tradition of celebrating the emancipation of thousands of enslaved people who forcibly worked and lived in inhumane conditions. The 2-year march from when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed to the arrival of troops in Texas is a metaphor for the many ways in which freedoms for black people have been delayed in this country. Today, the holiday is a way to acknowledge past faults, help heal current divisions, and move toward a future of a more perfect union.